Hello everyone, it's that time of year where we once again celebrate the games released within an arbitrary time frame, and that time frame is the year 2021, which we have just left behind. And it's a weird year for games, as the true effects of COVID begin to take hold and big ticket releases all largely got shunted into 2022, combined with the usual weirdness that accompanies the launch year of new consoles. 2021 was all over the place. While normally there are usually 2 or 3 candidates for the so-called canon game of the year, this year it feels like there's about 20. Every game has been a shining example of its niche, but ultimately all those games have still been weird and niche. And that's fantastic, because instead of everyone jumping on the latest blockbuster open world and or shooter, instead it's a lovely mixture of roguelikes, Metroidvanias, 3D platformers and other genres that don't tend to get the spotlight nearly enough. Until now. It's made for some nice surprises on end of year lists and award shows. And some of those surprises are even in my own end of year list. I didn't expect to give Game of the Year to the game that I will in fact be giving it to, but we'll get to that because we have 5 other games to get through. These are my top 6 games of 2021. Remember, these are my personal choices. Chances are if there's a game that you think deserves to be in here, I either played it and didn't think that much of it, or I simply haven't played it yet. And there are a lot of games from this year that I have not yet played. So there's a very real chance that that's what's going on there. But anyway, let's get started. Number 6. Kena, Bridge of Spirits. Kena, Bridge of Spirits is the most charming game that I've played from this year. From the get-go, you can immediately see that this game was made by a studio with a background in animation. From the gorgeous and memorable character designs to the lush environments, this game is a visual treat. Placing you in the shoes of a young spirit guide setting out to reach a mountain shrine in a cursed village, what follows is an action-adventure with more than a touch of inspiration from Nintendo's best works, as you gain powers and work towards healing the land. Aiding you in this quest are the Rot, offensively adorable creatures who follow you around like lost puppies and look up at you with massive eyes like lost puppies. And they're at the heart of the whole game. These fluffy, adorable little buddies that boost your attacks, distract enemies in combat, and move stuff around the world for you, all make exploring the world all the more enjoyable, since there's a chance you'll find even more of them. But even beyond that, Kena is a beautiful, interactive Pixar movie with expressive animation and likeable characters, and a story that talks about grief, duty, and love in surprisingly heartfelt ways. You learn the stories of various villagers whose souls have become corrupted, learn of those who loved and cared for them, and find ways to bring their souls to rest in a way that always makes you feel like you're doing something worthwhile. It's got many issues, but for a debut game, Kena does so much right that it's hard not to fall in love with it. And now all I want is to see what Ember Lab get up to next, because if this is what they achieved with their first game, who knows what they might manage with their second. Number 5. Unpacking. Unpacking is a game that states its intentions right in its title. It's a game about unpacking, and as someone who has moved house more times than I would ever possibly like to, possibly a game that wouldn't be all that fun to me, I'm happy to report that this is not the case. Unpacking is a super chill game that takes a concept that sounds kinda boring but ends up being compelling. There's something almost therapeutic about pulling items out of boxes and finding the perfect place for them one by one, arranging the bookshelves, finding the perfect home for your lifelong cuddly toy friend, and keeping your pants drawer organised all carry a meditative vibe that makes the game fascinating. It's also superbly detailed, with an absurd number of sounds for different items being placed on different surfaces, and the pixel art that manages to make games, movies and books obvious without needing to clear any trademark laws is excellent work. But where Unpacking truly excels is in its ability to tell a story simply through items. It's a game that shows just how much the items we surround ourselves with describe who we are. We never see our protagonist, but we learn so much about her, from her cultural background to her failed sporting career that turned into a successful art career, and even learn a little bit about the people that she surrounds herself with, including a boyfriend at one point who is just the worst. Just the worst. The game makes you hate this guy and you never see him. That's astounding. Unpacking is a simple game that says a lot with very little. It's a brilliant little game that took a lot of people by surprise this year, including me. Number 4. Life is Strange: True Colors. The part of me that adored Unpacking is also endlessly pleased by the Life is Strange series. That part is the overly emotional indie hipster in me that believes we need to be more open with our feelings and just love each other, man. And True Colors enhances that by making the game entirely about empathy. You see, Alex Chen, she's got powers much like other characters in the series, and with these powers she can read people's minds by feeling what they're feeling. And what follows is a story all about helping people and seeking injustice in the face of grief that also allows you to smooch a cute nerdy rock chick, which is of course the most important part. True Colors is not without its faults, with some aspects not feeling quite as fleshed out as the first Life is Strange, but what it gave me was a town that I wanted to live in for real, some difficult choices about morality, and it made me feel kinda warm and fuzzy for a while. Oh, and there's a whole chapter dedicated to a goofy LARP full of ropey costumes, and a magic shop where you can flirt with the witch who runs it, because again, that is the most important part. Number 3. Ratchet Clank: Rift Apart. Earlier this year I made a reaction video to the most recent PlayStation State of Play and kind of expressed my current disappointment with Sony and how unsure I was about getting a PS5. And then I unexpectedly got a PS5 for Christmas, along with my only reason to want one right now, Ratchet Clank: Rift Apart. And it is worth it since the game is so good that I snuck it here into 3rd place of my best games of the year. It's Ratchet & Clank, which is always a good time, so that's a good start. But from the get-go, I realised this is quite possibly the best game in the series. For a start, it is a joy to control. Ratchet feels significantly faster and more manoeuvrable than ever before, and there are a whole host of new abilities that add to a greater sense of traversal than previous games, from the Rift Tether Pole, which is always trippy to use, to the Phantom Dash that feeds my current desire to always reach for the dodge button in pretty much any game I play nowadays. The weapons are also immensely fun too, especially the Ricochet, which is ridiculous. It's also just a fun space romp too, with the writing being a massive improvement on the 2016 reboot. New alternate dimension counterparts Rivet and Kit are really likeable characters, and the humour is still as good as you'd expect from the series. It's also gorgeous, with the big bombastic sci-fi adventuring of past titles blown up to an even bigger scale and plastered with ray tracing effects and an excessive amount of detail in the fur on Ratchet's face. It's shiny, pretty, and endlessly impressive. Number 2. Psychonauts 2. I have been waiting for Psychonauts 2 for 16 years. Well, maybe not that long, since I didn't play the original at release, but the point still stands. It's been a long time. So, for Psychonauts 2 to not only be out, but also be as good, if not better than the original, I'm still in awe of that fact. Psychonauts 2 is pure joy. It is a game full of humour and lightheartedness and a goofy cartoon art style that really feels like Double Fine managed to truly nail the Saturday morning vibes they were going for in the past, but were held back by technology. The gameplay feels more fluid, with platforming being satisfying and movement being endlessly enjoyable, and there's no meat circus this time, which, thank God for that. In its place is a superb level of imagination. From a hellish version of MasterChef to a casino hospital, and from a germ city to a psychedelic landscape based around the senses, every level brings new gimmicks, new visual designs, and new ideas without ever once feeling clumsy or half-baked. And also Jack Black has a song in it, so there's that too. But it's also a game with heart. I truly love how Psychonauts 2 respects mental health concerns, treating subjects such as anxiety, trauma, and alcoholism with due care, without getting preachy, and without once making jokes directly about them. As its opening screen states, it's a game about empathy and healing, and it does so without patronising, punching down, or sacrificing its fun atmosphere. Thank you for this, Double Fine. And that alone is enough to put it where it is. In fact, it was almost Game of the Year. Really, really close. But ultimately, Psychonauts got pushed to 2nd place. And you may be a little bit surprised by what made the top spot. Number 1. Forza Horizon 5. Look, I'm aware that this probably doesn't fit into what you might expect me to be singing the praises of as Game of the Year, but here's a thing that you need to know about me. I actually do like racing games. However, I'm not super into them as a general rule because there's a bit of tedium to most of them. I've enjoyed the Gran Turismos and the Forza Motorsports of the world, but after a while it gets a bit boring driving around the same 10 lovingly recreated racing circuits, plus the typical focus on tuning stats and telemetry is just tedious to me. Where Forza Horizon 5 does things differently is it cares less about how many cylinders a carburetor can hold or whatever that means, and instead it's more about how cars can be cool and do cool things. This is not a stodgy circuit racer, this is rally on steroids, and since rally would be the only motorsport I would be willing to watch if you forced me to sit down and watch a motorsport on pain of death, this is superb to me. This is my first Forza Horizon game, so my experience with it is brand new, and therefore everything that was new and exciting to me may be in fact old hat. But oh boy, was Forza Horizon 5 a glorious time. This is not a standard racing game, this is an open world adventure game that happens to feature a ludicrous roster of cars. It's a game that places you in a festival of automotive excess that could not possibly exist in the real world. It's a glorious boozy holiday to Mexico, only the booze is motor oil and you won't get your visa revoked for ramping over Mexico's sacred historical heritage, which you can totally do. Do you know what else you can do? You can ramp directly into a stadium from a great height. You can smash up an abandoned airfield. You can study ruins and take pictures of your car with the scenery. You can race monster trucks down a mountain and then play a Tony Hawk level with one of said monster trucks. You can hurl an expensive supercar into a jungle without a care in the world. And you can tune a Reliant Supervan to S2 rank and make it wildly useless as a vehicle for any purpose, as it persistently falls over if you so much as hint as touching the steering wheel. I almost didn't make this Game of the Year. There's a stigma amongst the core gaming crowd that racing games aren't real games, and that almost influenced my decision. But while Psychonauts 2 was a strong contender for this spot, the more I kept coming back to this excessive, gloriously dumb festival all about flinging cars off volcanoes, the more I realised that there was no other choice. Forza Horizon 5 is brilliant vehicular chaos, and it's the most fun I've had all year. And therefore, it's Game of the Year. And so we come to the end of this celebration of 2021's games, and how surprised are you by my Game of the Year choice? Let me know in the comments below, and also let me know what your games of the last year were. I'd really love to hear them. And you know, while you're there, why not like and subscribe and all that, and you can also donate to me on Patreon, like these people did, and you can watch these videos as well that might be of interest. So yeah, thank you for watching everyone, and welcome to 2022. Happy New Year, and I will see you again very soon.